You know what? We got to get you all to Miami. If you the next conference is July 13th through the 17th. Actually, it's the 14th through the 17th in Miami Convention Center. And the ticket price is is it 199? I think it's 199. And man, we got to get you all out there. The ticket price goes up on Sunday. And you can put a deposit down and just pay it. But man, take the leap of faith and come on out. I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. And we're going to have some great speakers. It's going to be intense training. And, I'm anticipating that you're going to make a ton of money in May. So you might as well, like in that expectation, invest in yourself and, get your function ticket. Man, got to go. If you want to grow, you got to go. That's what I say. Doesn't matter if you want to build an agency or if you want to grow your sales business. Either way, I think you need to be there. There's something about getting around the people that are like-minded, that are where you're at, or people that were where you're at now and are killing it now. There's something when you get around the top people. Like, for example, I'm a big guitar player, right? Do you think if I had a chance, to get around Stevie Ray Vaughan, he's dead, but if I had a chance to get around Stevie Ray Vaughan, because I love the blues, or one of my heroes, Carlos Santana, like if I wanted to excel in my instrument, man, I would find any way to get around Carlos, get around Stevie Ray when he was alive. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. If I wanted to enhance my spiritual life, I'd be going to retreats and conferences. I mean, what do you think? You go to stuff, have you ever been on a retreat, or you ever been on any kind of church retreat? Why do you go? You go to center yourself. You go to improve your relationship with God. You go to, fill in the blank. You go to improve. Because you can't just do it in your own house. You can't do it in your basement thinking that you're going to get better. It just doesn't happen. You got to go outside yourself. You got to get out your comfort zone. You got to invest in yourself. And that's how you get to sharpen your axe, get around the people that will help you get there. Anyway, I will keep going on. Okay, so tonight is a sales Zoom call. And what do we do on these calls? This is where you ask me questions and then I answer your sales questions. And everyone gets the benefit of me coaching you. Okay, and that's really what we try to do with these. And we get some really good stuff. And then we'll have other agents contribute too. It's like not all about me. It's about other agents, giving their 2 cents on things that they've been successful with, or other agents asking more questions. That's the synergy that we expect here. And, if I'm going to give you free leads, I expect you to be on these calls. Okay. All right. I mean, come on, man. If I'm putting my money in you, you better invest time to come on these calls and listen to everyone's question. Sometimes you don't even know what to ask, but then when someone asks it, then it's like, oh, wow, that's awesome. I never would have thought of that. It's going to impact you. So anyway, and then there are topics that I'm going to cover. If no one asks a question, there's some very relevant things that I will cover that will help you as well. So sometimes I'll have an agenda and I will cover that the entire time, and I'll field questions as well at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up for questions. So who has any sales questions? Some of you are just dialing the phone right now for the first time. Some of you are going out on appointments. What do you have for me? Anybody? Don't be shy. Or you can chat out.
I have a question.
Yeah, Calvin, how you doing? CJ.
Yeah. Okay, now I can be heard.
Yeah, thank God, man.
I'm
It's so good to hear your
no,
wonderful voice.
I'm using a different device. I'm using Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, I was listening to the training, the ATM, and of course, I have to unlearn some of it. Okay, I have to unlearn what I've been doing over the years, because I'm an old timer. So that's what I got out of the conference, that I just need to revamp how I think about the process. Not so much how I do it, but how I think about it. And because there's the sales environment has changed. It's about relationships, not just about, you know, writing somebody up and moving on. Because you want to, because you're going to lose money that way. But anyway, I was watching, and of course, you were explaining the pain part. If you don't, you mentioned the importance of, in the process of, got to be able to probe the client's pain level, because that's really important. You got to understand, help them really live the pain, and then they have to really live it and experience it. And then something, oh yeah, the bonding and okay.
Rapport.
Anyway, those, if we don't do those two things, then we're not going to close. And so I need to get better at, especially the pain part. People get, I think all of us are fairly likable. People could say, oh, they like you, but then again, if we don't really hit their hot button, then they're not gonna, follow through and, sign up. Maybe I
Yeah.
should use the term sign up. I'm just using it.
Yeah, I understand. Absolutely. I think a lot of you, those of you who came to View from the Edge, when you heard Mark Hutchison teach, that's really what he was talking about. Finding pain and helping the client solve that pain, and really amplifying that through asking questions. And I think it is very relationship selling. There's actually, you have more ability when you do in-home appointments to really develop the pain and develop the bond and rapport, because you have the time. When you're sitting down with the client, you're not as having to compress anything, because you can let the relationship and the process just, flow. When you're on the phone, it's kind of, there's a ticking clock. Okay. When you're doing telesales, where those things are just as important, if not more important, because you're not physically with them. So the bond and rapport is much more of a challenge, and the pain finding, you really need to kind of cut to the chase and get to it, ask those questions. And so there is a difference when you are doing telesales versus in-home selling, but the process is still the same, developing that bond rapport, the upfront contract, laying out for the client what it is that's going to happen. So you give the expectation of what's going to happen. Then you do the pain finding, which is exploring, why did you send this form in? And just really developing their hot button. What is it that they're the most concerned about emotionally? Why do they need to take care of this? And then you move from there to settling in on the process and the budget with the client, how much their affordability of it, and then moving into the fulfillment, which is the 3-option close. And then once you take care of the client and the app's on the way, the post sell, which is locking down the sale. So, the 7-step submarine process is there for a reason, is to have you go through each gate knowing that you've covered the steps you're supposed to take care of. And truly, when you look at our top producers out there, they figured out their own submarine. But when you actually break down exactly what they're doing, there are elements of all those things inside what they're doing. And sometimes it doesn't matter as much what order they're in, as long as all the bases are touched before you go into presenting the 3 options, right? So that's what's fascinating about the whole process. That's why we'd rather teach you the process instead of making you memorize. You know, the last thing we ever want you to do is memorize a canned presentation, you know, because that's just old school selling. And, you know, the sales process has been developed because clients are getting smarter about salespeople, right? They know you're going to do a Ben Franklin close on them. You know, the features, benefits. This is the pros and cons, Ben Franklin close. They all been through it. If you ever bought a car, you know, you all been through all those features, benefits, selling. So the clients are way smarter now. So you got to not sound like a salesperson. And our sales process gets you out of sounding like a salesperson. You start like, for example, the philosophy is being an anti-salesperson. So as an anti-salesperson, the salesperson always trying to convince the client to buy. We are opposite. We're trying to determine if we even want to work with this client. We're trying to qualify whether or not we spend another minute in their house trying to help them. And every step along the way is a decision process. Each step, bond rapport, upfront contract, pain finding, budget, decision process, fulfillment, and post-sale. Every step is, should I leave? You know, it's like the song, should I stay or should I go? Ba da 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 da. Right? Everyone thinks sales is trying to convince a client to do something they don't want to do. We're the opposite. Every question we ask and everything we qualify, in my back of my mind is, does this client deserve my time for this next section of what we're going to talk about? Because I'm walking out of there. Like I'm freaking walking out of there. Like how many of you have the kahunas to have that attitude? And you need to have that attitude right from jump. Okay, but Alex, I'm new. I really need to make a sale. No, you don't. You don't need to make a sale to someone who's going to give you a chargeback, right? Trust me, you will not like chargebacks. Chargebacks is when the client buys the product from you just to get you the hell out of the house. And then they cancel, you get paid a commission, and then you know, the insurance company will take it away. So look, man, that's the 11th commandment. This thou shalt not fooleth thyself. Okay. That's the King James version. Go ahead.
As they're evaluating us, we're evaluating them.
For sure. I've walked out many a house where they didn't have enough pain. It's like, man, it doesn't sound like you really, really have an urgent need to get this, because I just really haven't heard anything. And I just shut up, and they say, well, what do you mean? You know, it doesn't seem like it matters to you. And then I say, you know what, here's my card. If anything ever changes where you really feel like you want to take care of this, give me a call. And I get up and I leave. And I tell them, but then they say, well, aren't you going to show us rates? It's like, I laugh. Why would I show you a rate if you're not even serious? I mean, even if it costs $1 a month, you're not going to want to buy it because you don't really have a need. Like if you die right now, I don't see that your loved ones that you have anyone that would really care. So, and I've left home after home when the client says something that just does not fit my picture of the perfect client. And it's because of our sales process. Like how many of y'all have ever done that? It's empowering. You are like in control. You're in the ultimate control because you're selling like you don't need the sale. And I promise you, when you sell like you don't need the sale, people will start buying from you. But when you try to sell because you got to make your rent payment, your mortgage payment, your car payment, and you're trying to chase that close, man, you are not going to close. And if you do, you are going to get chargebacks galore, and then you're going to quit because you aren't making money. And then you're going to blame it on the leads. You're going to blame it on me because I didn't train you. You're going to blame it on you, how late our Zoom calls are, so you're not able to get on because you got to go to bed, right? I'm sorry for being real. This conference just got me fired up. And, you got to be prepared to hear the truth, because I'm not going to, screw you by not telling you what you need to do and how you need to think. You got to think right about our business. You got to think right about what we're doing in the home. And if you don't think right about it, you're going to lose. And then it's going to be on me for not being truthful. Okay. Does that make sense? So, a little bit of tough love here, a little bit of straight talk. I hope you can appreciate that. Now, when I'm one-on-one with you and, you call me and Alex, the client didn't blah, blah, blah. I go, oh man, I know. I've been there. I will be compassionate. I will empathize with you, but at the same time, I will coach you up, baby, because that's how you get better, by the way. Okay. Failing is part of succeeding. Okay. So don't ever feel embarrassed or whatever you tell me. Look, I've been there. I've done that. I'm not going to judge you at all. In fact, I'm impressed that you would be vulnerable enough to me to tell me where you messed up. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, for those of you Catholics, like confession. You think the priest is going to tongue lash you. It doesn't happen like that. They're Christ's representative to hear you and to give you compassion called grace. Anyway, I'm not going to go there, but does that make sense?
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
It's funny we're talking about this. If you don't mind, I had that happen on my second appointment. I was shutting it down, and I was trying not to be defensive because this guy yesterday was all about meeting. I get there today, he looks like he's kicked off at the world, and had his hat pulled down, sitting there, and I'm trying to warm up a little bit, get bonding rapport. Nothing. I said, well, where's Miss Phyllis? Is she going to join? No, she ain't joining us. I do, she ain't got nothing to do with this. I do this and all this. I kind of laughed. I said, yeah, and I don't want to make you mad. I said, but I've heard that before. And then the first thing the husband does, and it may not be you, but the first thing the husband does is go ask his wife. Like, it made him mad. And I just stopped it because it wouldn't go anywhere. And I said, well, hold on, man. I said, are you mad or something? Is this a good time? And yeah. I said, well, what was the real reason? I mean, obviously you wanted something because you took time to fill this out, put it back in and mail it to us. And I'm just trying to, serve you. And he goes, well, I decided we're going to get some quotes. I said, well, you can get those all day long. I wouldn't even know where to start. I said, you've got to qualify first. We got to see what you qualify for. I got the software where I can do that, and it carries right down to it. But I just want you to know, this is not not a think about it day, meaning that and I pointed down to the company. I said, they got to think about you first. And then we got a period of time. If you want to go up on it, go down on it. But today, I just want you to know the process. We find out, and you know what your budget is, and you decide the premium. So you decide the amount. So, that's up to you. But we do that. We submit it to the company, and on and on and on. I said, does that make sense? And I always say, I learned, because you remember, it was a long time ago. It seems like a few years ago when they brought up that budget. I got that one time, and I asked, I said, what about budget? I said, do you know the budget close? And, it's really a list of priorities. And do you have 4 pizzas this month? Do you have a cable bill? You have your mortgage up here. Really a list of priorities. Right. So I learned that. And I hardly ever got that. The very next appointment, I had that again. I couldn't believe it. Must have been something I was doing. And I was ready, and I made the sale on that. But I said, I'm clipping that at the first. So I always say, well, everybody knows their budget, right? And they all agree. Yeah. We know a budget. So get that out of the way. But anyway, I was shutting it down. And I really felt inside I was about to leave. I said, this is change. This is not going anywhere. And I did that and got pretty strong. I said, now, look, I don't want to make you mad. I said, but our time is one of our most valuable assets. And I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want you to waste my time. So, but I want to help you, and I will, but it's up to you. Yeah. So anyway, went ahead and went through it and found out exactly what he's wanting, and just wanted to add a little bit and work with him the first anyway, we ended up getting him taken care of today. But in my mind, I was as close as you can get. I was about to walk out. I said, this is a lost cause, until I took it away from him and pulled that pendulum back. And
Absolutely.
then he grabbed it. But anyway, that was a perfect timing.
Yeah. In fact, I'm glad you said that. That's perfect Sandler. So one of the points that Scott made, the Sandler sales system, that's the ATM submarine, is a Sandler sales system. And I'm a President's Club member. I paid I think $9,500 over 20 years ago. And I've made millions, literally millions, with that investment, because I got to really learn the Sandler sales system. And Scott did the perfect thing. It's called pattern interrupt. So you're trying to do bond rapport with the client, and the client's shut down, looking down, and doesn't really make eye contact with you. And you are trying to force bond rapport. And there's a point where it's screw this, man. I'm not gonna do this anymore in your mind. Okay. And so the thing you say when you think everything's kind of going hinky and it's just not going right, is you call timeout. And you say, hey, Joe, can I call timeout here for a little? Call timeout, please. And you shut up. Remember, when you ask questions, you're in control. And he'll probably say, well, yeah, why? I'm curious. Well, I get the feeling that maybe I said something to make you mad, because you really seem, I get the feeling like you're really mad at me for some reason. And honestly, I don't know what I did to upset you. Then you shut the hell up. Shut the heck up. Okay. And you stare at them and you don't say another word. So it's important, the wording, call a timeout, because it's kind of weird, right? Call a timeout. What do you mean? Well, I'm getting the feeling that you don't want to be confrontational. You don't want to say, you're mad at me. You are you. I'm getting the feeling that no one can dispute how you feel. It's not it's the most non-confrontational thing to ask a client. I'm getting a feeling that maybe I did something to make you mad, because you seem really, I get the feeling you're very upset at me for some reason. And honestly, I don't know what I did. I mean, Joe, what did I do to make you upset at me? Then it's the Mexican standoff. You stare at them, don't take your gaze off them, and you stare them the heck down. And you just wait there, and you're smiling. And people can't stand silence. And silence is the best closing technique, because you got to be willing to sit there and stare at them. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 30 seconds seems like 5 minutes. It's not very long. You're going to get them to talk. And that's what Scott did. And the only way you can do that is if you're in the posture and mindset that I'm ready to walk the heck out of here. Screw it. I don't need this anymore. Someone who doesn't deserve my time, right? See, that's why you have to honor your business. You have to elevate you and your business. You're not a beggar. You don't go into a home being a dadgum beggar. Okay. You're not begging a client. You don't need their money. What you need is to find someone who needs you, and you are qualifying them the whole time. Right. And so that technique is so important when you do the pattern interrupt and move them forward. You say something, Scott?
Yeah. You get a kick out of this. I forgot about this. Oh, we were sitting there after I gave the 3 different options, and man, I wasn't going to say anything, and he sat there, and I'm not exaggerating. You know how it can seem like a long time, but I don't exaggerate when I say 3 to 5 minutes. I shouldn't even tell this on myself. But I'm sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And I look kind of glaze over him, and he's looking kind of toward the screen or toward the paper, and just with this blank stare. And so I said, man, come hell or high water, I'm not saying another word. And I sat there, and I thought, this is strange. And I said, Tom, he looks at me and said, you mind if I go smoke? Uh, you, uh, you, you need something from me? And I said, well, I was waiting on which option you, I thought you heard me. Yeah, I want that one. So I didn't know, I didn't hear him say anything. So I'm sitting there, he's sitting there like 3 minutes. And he's like, man, I got time to go smoke.
That's
While you
so
do that,
awesome.
yeah, while you do that, I said, dude, he's ready to go.
Oh, dude, I love that, man. I love that. That's good stuff right there.
Anyway, we ended up laughing and cutting up, so
Yeah.
it ended up good.
It's funny how people are, man. And they will back up, man. They will back up, say, "Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry." And they'll explain why they're feeling like that. It's like, well, I had a bad day today and blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh man, I've had those days. This is your chance to, again, build rapport by saying, oh man, I know how it is, and you get the client, you're winning the client over, you know. It's a powerful technique. And it's not a technique per se. Like the takeaway, you're going to hear the takeaway. This is not the takeaway. The takeaway is a slick sales technique from slimy salespeople that want to use a technique to close a client. See, it's coming from the wrong place. They're looking at close. I got to get this closed, so I'm going to do the takeaway. It's like, that's not Sandler. That's not our system. Our system is, I don't know if I should even be here anymore. I don't know if I need to be here anymore. That's our system, because you really believe it and you feel it. Like, this isn't really working. You know what I mean? So honor your business and have enough, have the guts to walk out, have that mentality of walking out. And it's tremendously empowering, and you will honor your business and you won't feel like a beggar. Oh, there was something else. What was another cool Sandler technique? Technique. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. So anyway, that really kind of, hopefully for you new people, it kind of gives you an idea that, we're not begging anybody. We're not trying to, operate some slick sales technique. It's a philosophy. It's a mindset. It's an attitude towards serving our clients and determining which clients deserve to be served. It's the same thing with recruiting. So those of you that are, I'm going to be sending out the recruiting thing with Mark Cassetta for next week. Recruiting, same thing. If a candidate gives me any kind of inkling that they're a slime bag, I'm going to end it. If I get the feeling like they're, well, what kind of contract level can I get? I'm used to getting 140, and I was like, wow. So you must be doing 70,000 a month in premium, right? What do you mean? Well, I mean, if you're going to get a 140, and you probably have an organization of about a couple hundred agents to get that high commission rate level. And it just shuts them up. And those kind of guys, I don't have any time for them, because they're typically like 50 years old. They've been through 20 different IMOs. They can't find a home because they're assholes, right? They just can't find a home, and they're trying to convince me why they're worth a 140. And it's like, oh Lord, I take 50. I take 2 shays. I take 1 shay over them, right? Shay's one of our excited agents. I take a Ben Seiler over a knucklehead like that, and I've got more opportunity with Ben than some knucklehead that's demanding that they're worth this 140 contracts. Like, dude, seriously? So that's the great thing about recruiting is I don't need anyone. I don't need to hire the next great, producer in the world that tells me how great they are, right? It's kind of like a lady who asks to be treated like a lady is probably not a lady, right? Anyway, and if they were born a man before, just kidding. So I hope you're kind of getting this sense of philosophy. The philosophy of what we do is so important. The mindset attitude is so important. One thing I wanted to cover, we'll take more questions. Okay. So don't worry about that. Think of some. I want to cover this because it just seems to have come up a lot this week on answering objections. And objection answering is nothing more than really kind of I would say a formula, but it just really a way to, by the way, objections is a form of interest. So objections isn't negative. In fact, I appreciate someone telling me what they're objecting to, because the worst objection is the one that's never voiced. So you have no idea how to move someone if they never tell you what's the thing that's stopping them, right? So, we've got so many techniques to teach you on that, but I don't have the time right now. Someday. But on the phone. So we have a lot of our agents, new agents, calling older leads for practice. And the first thing with that is, the objection handling. So for the older leads, look, you can't use a new lead script with older leads because older leads are older leads. The new script like Paige Higdon's script and they're meant to be with, more recent A leads, So if you got older leads, here's my approach. Again, it's not something you have to memorize, but you have to, in your mind, kind of have this vibe to being the investigator. It's like, hey, ring, ring, Joe. Hey, this is Alex. Okay. So that technique is called the familiarity technique. It's like when you disarm people when it sounds like you've known they should know you. You ever do that? Like naturally, when you call someone that they're going to answer the phone, or they're going to, hey, Scott, this is Alex. How you doing, buddy? Or, if they just pick up the phone without looking at the caller ID. So you do that with the client. Hey, Joe, this is Alex. And then you pause and they're like going, oh, actually, one time I did that. And the person said, Alex, yeah, that thing that we were working on the other day? I go, yeah. Well, I think that we need to blah, blah, blah. They kind of went on and on. It's hilarious. I let them go. I kept going, oh, yeah, right. He went on for like 2 minutes. And then he paused. He goes like, okay, so what do you think about that? I go, that sounds like a great idea, except I don't think I'm the Alex that you're thinking I am. Let me tell you who I am and why I'm calling. I'm from the Mortgage Protection Department, and you sent in this form like, maybe a year or two ago, and I'm just conducting an investigation right now. But your idea sounds great, by the way. And then their mind going, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were, yeah, a lot of people get that. I sound like a lot of people. But anyway, look, I'm just investigating this lead form that you sent in. You sent in a form to us, within the last couple of years, and you were looking for mortgage protection insurance. And like in my records, we don't show that we took care of this for you. You mind if I ask you a few questions? I guess. Well, did you mortgage your home in the last couple of years or bought a new home? Yeah, I did. Okay, well, some time ago, right after you got that mortgage, you sent in this form. Let me read it to you. It says your height and weight is 5'9", 140. You're at 123 Anywhere Street. Your mortgage is $320,000 with First Federal Bank. Is that? And then your spouse's name is Alice. Her birth date is 3/15/72. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Well, look, again, I don't know what happened. We weren't able to take care of it. We don't show we took care of it. Kind of let me ask you a question. Like when you sent this in, I know you probably don't remember it, but what was on your mind when you sent this in? Okay. That's how you open up an old lead conversation. Like I have that old lead video that I've done where I called old leads. final expense hold lead. Say, hey, Joe, this is Alex. And then they're like hesitating. Yeah, Alex with the Senior Benefits Center. Listen, I'm just doing an investigation. I'm a supervisor with the company doing an investigation on this form that you had sent in. Maybe it was, recently, maybe the last 6 months. And I'm doing an investigation because I show in our records that we have not taken care of this for you. So my job is really to kind of find out what happened. So I just want to make sure I'm talking to the right person. Is that cool? So, okay, I've got you. You're Joe Smith. It says when you sent this in, you wrote down you're 67 years old. And then it says here your spouse's name is Martha. And it says here she's 68 years old. And you're at 123 Anywhere Street there in Dublin, Ohio. Does that all sound right to you? Am I talking to the right person? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, listen, usually when people send this form in, they're looking to make sure their family are able to pay for their burial and all the other final expenses like debts and other things that come up when they die, disposing of the house and selling the house, etc. That's what most people are looking for when they send a form like this in. And so let me ask you a question. What was on your mind when you filled this out and when you sent it in? Then you shut up. Let them answer the question. Okay, it's not some canned script where, hello, Joe, my name is Alex, and I'm with the Senior Benefits Center, and I have a form here that you sent in. My job simply is to get you this information on your burial insurance, and I will be in your area Thursday between 5 and 6 p.m. or Friday between 6 and 7 p.m. Which day is better for you? Like, come on, man. It's a planned conversation. It's a planned conversation. The plan is the opening. Hey, Joe, this is Alex. Alex, Senior Benefits Center. I'm a supervisor with the company, and you filled out a form and you sent it to us. I'm just doing a simple investigation. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a few questions here so I can figure out what the heck happened. Okay, who's going to hang up with that one? Do you sound like a telemarketer? No, you don't sound like a telemarketer. You sound like someone doing an investigation. That's what you're doing. You're doing investigation. Okay. Does that make sense? And then the objection handling. So let me cover objection handling. There's only a handful of objections you're going to get every time. We're not interested. We took care of it already. I don't have time right now. Right? Those are probably the top three. I'm not interested. I took care of it already. I don't have time right now. I mean, come on, man. Who hasn't got those? Those are like the top three. And so I've been coaching people to have ready what you're going to say, because you're going to get it. Don't make it sound like this is the first time you ever heard that objection, right? Like, you have to practice it. Just like anything, just like an actor on stage rehearses their lines and memorizes it before they go out on stage during opening night of the play or musical. You got to be a professional and you got to practice your objection handling. You're going to get it. So why not practice it before you call leads, right? So we took care of it already. Oh, you took care of it already? The first thing you do is you repeat what they said. What that does is it gives you a chance to not leave a gap. When they say, we took care of it already, and then you're looking through your script and you're going, hold on, let me get to that objection handling script. Hold on. Oh, it's right here. You need to not have a gap, because when you hesitate and there's a gap between when you talk and they give you objection, number one, it shows that you're a rookie. You don't know what the heck you're doing. Number two, it doesn't show any sense of confidence, right? You can fake confidence, because if you act confident, guess what? You're confident. Act like someone who's confident. Does that make sense? Act like it. And how you act like it is you close the gap. So when they say, we took care of it already. Oh, you took care of it already? Repeat back. You took care of it already? It's kind of a question. Yeah. We took care of it already. What they're inevitably going to do is give you some more information. And the whole idea of objection handling, let me just say this. You can't answer objection when someone hangs up on you, right? So you probably, Alex, should I call him back? I always try to. And if they do pick up and say, oh man, I don't know what happened. We got cut off somehow. Anyway, this is Alex with the Senior Benefits Center. And you know what I'm saying? If they pick up, chances are they won't pick up. So guess what? You don't have to talk to them anymore. They told you what you needed to know, that you need to go to the next lead, right? Again, your objective when you're calling these leads is to, especially old leads, is to find the nice people. Let's make it simple. Your job is to find the nice people who will talk to you. The more you can ask questions, the more they answer, the longer you can keep on the phone, the likelihood goes up that you're going to book an appointment. As long as you ask the right questions and you stay in control. All you're doing is looking for the nice people. The nice people will book an appointment with you. Okay. You're not trying to force anything on anybody. And that's makes it a filter that you don't have to take personally, right? You can protect your ego because, hey, whatever happens, happens. All I'm looking for is someone who's going to answer my questions. And if they hang up and, well, they can't obviously answer your questions because there's no connection anymore. Okay. So when you say, oh, you took care of it already? And then chances are they're going to say, well, yeah, someone came over and blah, 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 blah. We took care of it. And, oh, okay. Someone came over. See where I'm going with this? Yeah. Someone came over. Oh, how long ago? Oh, it was about 2 months ago. Oh, interesting. So let me ask you this question. When they took care of it, did you have to go through, did he also take care of your spouse? Like, did he write policies on both you and your wife? Oh, yeah, he took care of both of us. Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing. Most people, when they send this form in, they're interested in getting the best product at the best price. Is that what you were looking for when you sent this form in? And they're going to say, whatever. How are they going to say no? It's like, well, yeah, we're looking for the best product. Oh, okay. Well, if you purchase from the first guy, how do you know that you have the best product if you aren't able to compare it? And that's sort of a rhetorical question. And then I continue. Look, my job is simply to get you the information you're looking for. It's only going to take 15, 20 minutes. You always sell that it's going to take a short time. Now, if you're going to be in there an hour and a half, it's because, dadgummit, they made you stay there because they wanted to buy a policy from you. It's not your fault. Okay. The question and presentation is about 15, 20 minutes. You're not lying to them. Okay. This is only going to take about 15, 20 minutes. My job is to get you the information. And then we can take a look at that policy, and then I can show you some other options. By the time we're done, you're going to know that the policy you have is, in fact, the best policy at the best price. But the other thing you're going to know is maybe it isn't, and maybe we can get you into better, put you in a better position, a better policy. So they have me coming out to your area Wednesday between 5 and 6, or Thursday between 6 and 7. Which night works better for you? So you just start booking the appointment. Okay. You're not trying to get into this long drawn out thing. What you are doing is you're sidestepping objections, sidestepping it. Okay. And that is the way to answer that. We took care of it already. You got to be prepared to say the same thing every single time, that it just comes out of your mouth like that. So practice it. Practice it on a friend, on a spouse, right? And just practice getting out of your mouth. Then you're going to have we're not interested. You're not interested? Okay, repeat. You're not interested? No. We're just not interested in this anymore. Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you a question. When you fill this out, okay, and it shows here that you wrote down that you're 67 years old and your wife Martha's 68 and you're at 123 Anywhere Street in Dublin, Ohio. Is that still correct? That information is still correct? Well, I'm 68 now. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, when you fill this in, most people, when they fill this out, they're concerned about making sure their family can pay all their final expenses, their burial expenses, any final debts, the ability to dispose of the house, resell the house, all that stuff. Most people are concerned about that. Is that what you were concerned about, or was it something else that you were concerned about? See, it's just another way to ask them a question. I call that the optometrist comeback, because you give them A or B. So which is it, A or B? You give them an easy, all they have to do is pick one. Most people, when they fill this form out, they were looking to make sure their family could take care of their burial without having to spend any money or do a GoFundMe, and all the final expenses like paying off debts and the expense of, getting rid of your house and disposing of all your things. Okay. Is that what you were looking for, or were you looking for something completely different? It's a great question to keep it going. You keep the conversation going, right? And you got to practice it. You always have to practice it. So it just comes out. Frank, Alex is a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Well, if you've been in the business 23 years, and I was like one of the top back in the day, I was like in the top 4 of Alliance producers one year. That's when in fact, what's interesting, I was number 4 in the company. And it was the year that my business just blew up in terms of recruiting and building. That's where it's like, there's no excuse if you're a producer that you can't build. And if you're a builder, you can't produce. I mean, because I did both and I was busy, but it was like one of the most productive times of my life in terms of learning. Right. So we're not interested. You refresh the interest, and that's all you're doing. All these old leads, all you're doing is turning an old lead into an A lead. An A lead is someone who is interested in taking care of their families. There's pain. And all this is really kind of pain finding, isn't it? It's like, do they still have this need? Right? And you're just refreshing the need. Like, come on, seriously. They sent this in. At some point, they were concerned about leaving their family enough to take care of their funeral, at least. Right? So why aren't they suddenly not interested in that? You're going to get well, we don't think we can afford it. Oh, you don't think you can afford it? Do you see what I'm doing? You don't think you can afford it? Huh. Well, look, my job is really to help you afford it if this is still a concern of yours. So let me ask you just a basic question. When you die, who is the loved one that has to pick up the pieces? I want to know who their beneficiary is, right? That is one of the most important questions you can find out, is who's the loved one that has to pick up the pieces, because everything starts with how much they love that person. The reason why I walk out of homes is they don't have that person they love enough, and I'm out of there. See, life insurance is a love product. That makes sense. You do it, you buy life insurance for the people you love. You're dead. You're not going to get the benefit of the policy other than maybe an IUL where you can borrow money out of your policy, but it's for the person you love. So I want to know who that is, and I want to know their name. And this is another great question to ask when you ask that question. So tell me, who's the person who's going to have to pick up the pieces? Well, my daughter Mary is really going to take care of everything. Oh, Mary. So you use Mary's name a gazillion times because they love Mary. They love hearing the name of their child. When you mention my son's name, Athen, or Zoe, or Izzy, or Maddie, or Nick, my heart just warms up because you mentioned the name of the people I love. Okay. Unless you're Chris Rock and you mentioned the name Jada. Anyway, it's just music to my ears when you mention the name of my kids. And so you do the same thing, Mary. Oh, Mary. Now I want to know about Mary. Genuinely. So is Mary like your oldest child, youngest child? Where does she fit in the birth order? Oh, she's my oldest. Oh, how old is she? Oh, she's 35. Oh, wow, 35. So do you have grandkids from Mary? Oh, yeah, I have 2 grandkids. Oh, really? How old are they? Oh, I have a 2-year, they have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. As a boy, girl, what are their names? Well, the 5-year-old name, his name's Nathan, and the 3-year-old's name is Tabitha. Oh, Nathan and Tabitha. Tabitha, that is the coolest name. That's a pretty name. All of a sudden, man, I am using names that are just triggering all these warm fuzzies in her, right? Or him, whoever. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Joe or Mary, whatever. And so I'm using those names, man. It's like, okay, so Mary is going to have to pick up the. Now, does Mary live locally or does she live in another state? Oh, no, she lives in Tennessee. Oh, wow. She's in Tennessee. So how often do you get to see Mary? You see what I'm doing? I am totally warming myself up to them because I'm genuinely interested in their family. And so what I'm doing is I'm making Mary real to her that she's the one that's going to have to pick up the pieces, right? Actually, I think I called her Mary. Anyway, so tell me, so Mary's going to take care of everything. So is that who you had in mind when you filled this form out that you were going to take care of Mary? Is Mary the loved one that you wanted to, make sure was going to be okay without having to take care of all your final expenses without having to worry about putting on a credit card? Is that right? Well, yeah, Mary, my daughter. Oh, okay, cool. Good deal. Well, I admire you. I admire you because a lot of parents kind of sometimes don't care. They figure their kids, they gave birth to their kids, they raise their kids. The least they can do is the kids can come up with, the $25,000-$30,000 to take care of their debts and final expense and all that stuff. I commend you. I think that's a really cool thing that you love your daughter enough to want to give, leave her something to take care of your stuff. Look, gang, by this time, man, she wants to offer me apple pie and ice cream. You know what I'm saying? I have so endeared myself to her because I've shown genuine, by the way, gang, this is really genuine. I am really like this in the home. I want to get to know them. Because I love getting to know people. You shouldn't be in the insurance business if you don't want to take care of people and get to know your clients. I am, and I don't care if that lead's 5 years old or just last week she turned it in. She thinks highly of me because I think highly of what she wants to have happen here. All of a sudden, that old lead becomes an A lead, a fresh lead. And I'm closing the sucker because I know she needs this for her daughter. Does that make sense? So objection handling is all about getting to know the person if they're going to answer your questions. Objective is keep them on the phone, ask them questions. One of the most important thing is who's the loved one that's going to have to pick up the pieces when you die, right? Find out about them. Okay. Remember, every objection, just repeat what they said. That gives you a chance to think about what question you're going to ask them after that. Okay. It's all about asking questions. So practice it. Anyway. Anybody else have, I know I didn't really leave room for questions, but hopefully that made sense. Anybody? Any last minute questions? All right, cool. So where we are in the draft, man. Oh, go ahead.
I don't have a question. I just the first call I made tonight, it was a lead that I had had for about a year in my stack, and she, the daughter answered, and I asked for the lady, and she said, sorry that she passed away April 12th. So I'm
Yep.
just trying to pick up the pieces right now and trying to put everything together. I'm just not in the right frame of mind right now, but we're gonna get back together in a couple weeks when she gets things taken care of for her mom. So,
Yep.
but yep, too late.
Yeah. And if anybody is run any kind of leads on here any period of time, you're going to run into people that have already died. You are going to run into that. Even people that just died that week, like a few days before. Okay. Now, here's what I would recommend is knowing that you're going to run into that is you got to know what to say. You know, and here's the thing, you certainly want to be respectful that they're grieving. Okay. But I want to know, like, I will be concerned because I would generally, it's like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Look, she sent in this form. She was looking for burial insurance, and I feel so bad. Like I really do that we weren't able to get to her. Please tell me that she did take care of this with someone else and that she was able to get a policy so that you guys wouldn't have to raise any money. I shut up and let her ask a question. I want to know. Oh yeah, she did. She did. Oh, thank God. Yeah, because I was calling because I was worried that we didn't take care of this. So that was my concern. Okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what, let me give you a call in a couple of weeks because my job is to make sure that the entire family is taken care of. I'm sure Martha would have wanted to make sure that all her children are also covered with life insurance policies. I don't know if that agent took care of that, but I'll give a call in a couple of weeks, I promise, and I'll see what we can do to help the rest of your family out. Does that sound fair? Sound good to you? Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to know, man. She says, oh, no. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. As soon as I got this form and my job was to investigate why we weren't able to take care of her because the agent that originally had this form obviously didn't do their job. And so I'm just really hurting for you right now. I'm really sorry. I mean, I extend my condolences to you. But let me throw this out to you. I'm sure Mary would have wanted to have all her loved ones covered with life insurance. So the same thing wouldn't happen to your family that happened to you. Tell you what, let me give you a call in a couple weeks after you've taken care of everything, just so I can be thorough and make sure that, we do what Mary probably wanted, which is making sure you all were protected. By the way, what is your phone number so I can just give you a call? Okay, my name's Alex. Okay, so my number that I'm calling you from is, you expect it from 937 area code. Again, my condolences. God bless. I will definitely say a prayer for you and your family. Okay. Boom. Look, and every single word is sincere and genuine. But here's what most agents do, honestly. Here's what most agents do. Oh, I'm sorry. My condolences. I'll call you back. Click. Or they won't say they call them back. They just, I'm sorry. Okay. My condolences. And they hang up. It's like, dude, come on, man. Your job is to protect their family. You weren't able to protect her, but you can help their family. Okay. Take advantage of every opportunity to serve. Okay. It's not, Alex, all you care about is making money. No, I care about serving people, making sure that they're protected, because that is my job. God put me into this business to serve families. Okay. It's coming from my heart of a servant. And I have the ability to make sure their family doesn't have to grieve additionally because of the financial burden, right? So look, gang, step up to your responsibility of being in this business because you are here to serve people. Your compensation will be a measure of your service and the value add to other people's lives, right? The objective is not to make money. The objective is to serve. Okay. So anyway, gang, thanks for being on this call. I appreciate it. I'm fired up, man. Rally cry in May. We are going to blow this thing up. I'm going to shower you with leads so that you can hit the ground running. I'm gonna do everything I can, man, in my power to help you really make May a huge difference in your life financially. So thank you everybody for plugging in. God bless y'all. And who's on the clock?
Question.
Go ahead.
One question.
Yeah, sure.
How do we get access to this recording?
I'm gonna send it out. Josiah.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Looks like Washington. The Washington, not the Redskins, is on the clock. Okay, man. God bless everybody. Rock on. I will get this out. Take
All right,
care.
have a good one.